So do you want to introduce yourself and your business?
My name is Chris Pederson. I have a few different businesses. I am trying to decide which one to talk about right now, but I have I'm a partner in a family rental company up here. I have 55 Rental. I have a small local media publishing company that I do a magazine out of Medina called Local Ties. I have a development company that I've been working on development for a while out of Medina called Medina Ventures. And kind of got a couple other projects going. So actually today I think we'll talk about an event I'm hosting that's kind of tied to a lot of the businesses, but it's coming up in August, and that's the one. So Local Ties Media is putting on an event called NFT MSP Culture Convergence. We had a pilot run last year, and this year we're doing a second round at the shops at Westmond.
Okay. And then how do you, like if you were to pick one of them to talk about, how do you serve your clients best?
By bringing people together, by looking at what their motivations are, what's going to help them, and understanding their business model, understanding what they're looking for from whether it's a promotional standpoint, a marketing standpoint, a engagement, and not in kind of the conventional sense, but more of a how do I help people help themselves, and also help me understand how I can help them better, and maybe collaborate. I really like to collaborate with most everybody I work with. I don't tend to look at most relationships as a client service, but more of a how can we work together and mutually benefit from this relationship.
Okay. And then what's one piece of inspiration that drives you?
Seeing people succeed. I love watching and being along for the ride, selfishly, right? I like watching people personally succeed. I like watching people professionally succeed. I really like working with people that are unconventional, that think a little outside the box, that are a little bigger risk takers, and that believe in themselves to a point sometimes of almost others might think they're crazy or a little mad, but also those are the type of things that I like to dig into. I really like to problem solve and figure out a way to do something that other people or even the clients or the partners might not think can be done, but we want to get it done, and we work together to figure out how can we do this a little different way, or maybe there's a different way to look at this, and we should take a step back. So that's something I think that inspires, because when you work at that capacity, at least I work best in that capacity, you kind of start to inspire each other. So if you have a dream or an idea, or you hit a wall in your business, or you're trying to bring in more revenue for a business, you're trying to get more people to know about the thing you're doing, there's so many ways to do it, and there really is no right way. And with how dynamic our society is right now, between emerging technology, there's blockchain is one piece of our event, decentralized structures of public ledgers, tracking things on the blockchain, Web3 as they call it, basically the internet, but a little bit of a twist. So I like kind of looking at all angles and saying, maybe we're looking at this the wrong way, or maybe you are trying to get from point A to point D, but you are hitting this point B here. And what we should be doing is not looking at point A, or point A, B, or C, or D, come around the other side and look at it completely differently. And sometimes that brings something unique. Sometimes it's a complete waste of time. And but I think just trying to inspire people to think outside the box. I mean, that sounds a little trite, but yes.
What made you choose this entrepreneurship journey, and when did you start?
I grew up in a family that had a family rental business. I was 11 when I started washing chairs and tying up volleyball ropes and not doing probably a great job and getting, probably made fun of and hated by the guys that were actually, 18, 25 years old working there at our family business. My dad and uncle started the business in '79. Didn't come from money. It was blue collar business, and my dad, I think, just being around that space, serving customers, you know, event rental needs. So we were in event rentals and equipment rental. That's kind of how I eventually found myself more in the event space, not just rentals of tents and tables and chairs, but actually producing events. That it was kind of there's a part of my life, and I didn't have a choice in some ways, and not as a bad thing, but as a, you come home and you talk about how much you had to spend on an attorney, or how this customer isn't paying, or kind of all of these things that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner in a small business, he found, you know, we always talked about it at home. And so I started to kind of learn about that. And I liked, over time, I learned it through him. But then eventually what I found that I really enjoyed about it was the freedom that came with being able to be accountable to yourself, and being able to, if you're going to fail, you kind of fail on your own, or you succeed not on your own, but with others, but you're not relying on somebody else or a boss or somebody to kind of dictate your future. So that was the freedom part of it is one of the pieces that I really enjoyed. And I think it just started with where I was raised.
Okay. And what's something you wish more people understood?
That they have way more potential than they think, and that victimhood is something that I've been gotten down on myself on. I think we have a society that between technology, global communication, macroeconomics, making things less expensive, being able to create things in our homes, 3D printing, software, everything. We have so much potential at our fingertips to do things. And the most difficult part, I think, about breaking through that and understanding that we have that potential is it's the rent payment, it's the insurance payment, it's the mortgage, it's the gas, it's the food, it's all these necessities that we effectively build in, and we live in a great society. But in the end, a lot of those things do keep us in a place. And it's not to say that anybody can just go out and create the best idea and do their dream and then they're going to make money. Like, it's not that easy. But I think what a lot of people don't understand is it's going to take time. And when you see somebody else that goes off and, builds a business, usually you see it at the last 10%. You don't see it at the first 90% when nobody was paying attention and nobody knew what they were doing and how hard it was to get there. And at least, for me and a lot of my friends and colleagues, and it's doing the silent grind, believing in yourself, doing the regular day job to get there. And then it's coming around and saying, okay, I believe that if I do this for the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I can listen to anybody who says I can't do it. I'm only surround myself with people that support and want to help. And I'm gonna try to make this work. Things tend to come around. And that and if they don't, maybe you find that you don't want to do that. But I think that people don't understand is now's the time to do it. We don't live that long. And I would say that taking more chances that aren't financially risky, but risking your time for yourself, if you have it, that's something I think more people should consider.
Being in this space of entrepreneurship and owning multiple different businesses, what do you have to say about work-life balance? And do you have some semblance of balance, or what does that look like?
It's a great question. I have 2 children. My wife, Kelly, is amazing. My kids are everything to me. The development that I've been working on for the last 4 years, which has got another day, another time, everything around my business and my family, part of it was I was close to home. So I live very close to a lot of the things I'm doing. But the work-life piece has been difficult. And what I say is I try to spend as much time with my kids when I'm at home as possible. We go on a lot of trips. The hardest thing for me is when I am in the zone and I come home and I haven't finished my work and I'm at home and the kids can be doing their own thing and it's okay and they're fine. And I can kind of be on my phone or I can be emailing and I look over and I see that my wife or my kids, they're doing their own thing. And I say to myself, well, I don't have to feel guilty because we're all kind of here and I'm getting my work done. But the truth is, that's what I'm trying to get a little better at right now, because I'm actually getting busier than I've ever been and trying to find that, not find it, but really tweak that work-life balance, because my kids have watched me be an entrepreneur and I talk to them about all the business. And that's, I think, maybe one other piece I'll say is the work-life balance for me, at least, has been I incorporate, even though they're 7 and 9, I incorporate them. I talk to them about everything I'm doing. And sometimes I know they get annoyed and they don't want to hear about it, but other times it's been very rewarding to be able to have them along for the ride and make them feel a part of it, because they are, and to have and frankly to be able to talk about things and be engaged with things with my family that also have to do with my projects, and teaching them some of the things that I was taught with my family and my dad in a different way, but being present. So I'm a little all over the place, but I think being present at home and realizing that I could work all night and the kids could do their thing all night and we would both be fine. But whenever I do that, I usually wind up going to bed, realizing that I just spent 3 hours working when I could have been with the kids. And was that 3 hours that they were awake really worth not being present? And I think the hardest part for me with that is making sure that when I come home, I am whatever I need to still get done, it can get done tomorrow, and convincing myself that I'm going to compartmentalize. That's going to be over here, because the worst thing is where you get stuck in both. And I'm with my kids, I'm talking to them, but I'm somewhere else in my brain. And they can see that. And now, and just kind of going through the motions to feel like I'm being present, and really neither of us I'm not engaged, which means that they're seeing their dad as a not present person. And it just doesn't happen often, but it's certainly something that I'm working on. And my goal is to spend more time with my kids, and not to set up a lifestyle that just makes money, but rather a lifestyle that allows my time to be free to do as I please and let the money speak for itself.
Everyone's entrepreneurship journey is a little bit different. For you to stay on a track of success, what are your non-negotiables that you've developed over time in business?
Non-negotiables? Great question. My non-negotiables are I won't work with people that I don't trust. And that seems easy, right? It's if I don't trust what their intentions are or how we're working, if our goals aren't aligned in terms of purpose, not just money. It's easy to find people that want to make money with you. Non-negotiable is if we have very different aligned values in business and purpose. That's a non-negotiable. I won't work in businesses that I don't believe are. I shouldn't say don't believe. I won't work in businesses that I believe are actually hurting society in some way. Now that's easy to say, and there's always some sort of collateral damage or unintended consequence to the decisions we make. But I do my very best to, if I'm working on something, it needs to be either fun, it needs to help other people, it needs to be inspiring, or it needs to help solve some sort of problem that's actually solving a problem and not just perpetuating a problem, so a solution can be profited off of for a long-term period of time, which a lot of business, frankly, in this world right now is profiting off of pretending to solve problems that really actually aren't profitable when you solve a problem. When you solve a problem, it actually becomes less profitable. And so I think being true to solving good problems, having fun, and being able to be creative. If we can't be creative in our endeavors, then it's really not that fun. I would get bored doing that. It's not a non-negotiable, but I think creativity is a big piece of working with others.
Great.
Hey, it's Will with the Podcast Crew team. Spotlight is a vidcast shot at the Podcast Crew Studios in Minneapolis. We would love for you to be our guest. Email us at the email address on your screen below to get a copy of the upcoming schedule. It's free, it's easy, and it's a great way to try out a podcast or a vidcast with our pro team. We do an in-person, in-studio version if you're in the Twin Cities area, and also an online version if you're somewhere else. We'd love to have you, hear your story, and help you start your podcast journey. Thanks. Get in touch today.